Conan is shocked to discover that his mother-in-law had only stepped out to open the door. Yet the moment everyone entered, a dead body had appeared inside the room. Eri Kisaki was completely stunned because the victim, Kunekura, was her client. She'd come to stay here 2.5 hours earlier after a fight with her husband. But when Eri Kisaki returned from outside, the room was completely empty. She assumed Kunekura had already left, so she went to take a shower. Right after she finished, Kagoro knocked on her door, and the moment everyone entered the room, Kunekura's body was suddenly there in Eri Kisaki's bedroom. After hearing the timeline of events, Inspector Yakamizo was also confused. A room key card was required to enter this room, and the windows had been locked the entire time. There was no body before the shower, and a body appeared after the shower. The only possible suspect was Eri Kisaki standing before them. It was highly likely she'd killed the victim before going to the bathroom to shower. Seeing his mother-in-law about to be taken in for questioning, Conan immediately stepped forward to clear her name. There was no blood from the victim on the floor, yet there were bloodstains on the bedsheet far from the body. This proved one thing: this bed had been moved by someone. It was possible the killer had hidden under the bed with the body after the murder, waited until Eri Kisaki went to take a shower, then moved the bed back to reveal the body. But Inspector Yakamizo didn't believe this theory at all. How could the killer have known you would definitely take a shower that day? Besides, moving this large bed would definitely leave drag marks on the floor, yet no such marks were found at the scene. That meant the killer must have lifted the bed and moved it aside. But if that was the case, here was the problem. None of the three suspects at the scene could possibly do that. The victim's husband was physically weak, who spent all his time at home playing with his model cars. There was no sign of physical training on his body at all. Then there was mother and son Kuriyama next door. They looked like they could move the bed, but the killer also had to hide under the bed. Their body types made that completely impossible. With the case at a standstill, Conan had no choice but to return to the crime scene to investigate again. There was also a trail of blood next to the bed leg, in small, spaced-out drops. Conan was deeply confused by this. This was clearly not spatter from the victim. The only possibility was that it was left when the killer moved the bed. But why wasn't the blood trail a straight, continuous line? Conan then found a puddle of cola foam under the fridge. This made him realize something in an instant. No wonder the killer could predict when Eri Kisaki would take a shower. All they had to do was shake up all the drinks in the fridge beforehand. That way, the moment she opened a can, she'd get sprayed all over, leaving her no choice but to take a shower. While that question was solved, Conan still couldn't figure out how the killer had moved the heavy bed. Soon, night fell. Suddenly, Kagoro started talking in his sleep.
again.
Hearing his words, Conan was instantly shocked. Combined with the unusual blood trail at the scene, he finally understood everything. The next day was Eri Kisaki's birthday. To help Kagoro look good in front of his wife, Conan decided to skip the tranquilizer dart and give Kagoro hints directly. The next second, he deliberately knocked over a bottle of ketchup, then rolled a food cart right over the spill. Staring at the red dots on the floor, Conan exclaimed loudly, "Why are the marks on the floor all evenly spaced?" But Kagoro said it was because the cart's wheels had picked up the ketchup, leaving a mark on the floor with every full rotation. The second he finished speaking, Kagoro finally realized what was going on. This was exactly like the blood trail at the crime scene. The next second, Kagoro